This meeting is being recorded.
Hey, Cannonball Nation. It is May 10th, 2022. And if y'all see my Facebook, you know my son turned the Big 10 yesterday. That reminds me that I'm halfway through my CE credits. I only got 10 more years to go, and I'm grandfathered in like Jim. I can't wait. Today, I have Mr. Scotty O'Brien on with Senior Security Benefits, SSB. And some of you may know his counterpart, Galen Hendricks, who he works with. She handles our contracts with them are the Manhattan Life, the Aetna Med Sup, and the Cigna Med Sup is what we've had over there. We've had them over there for years. Scotty's always available to us for trainings. It's really great. And if you haven't met Galen, yes, you have met Galen. Oh, no, you did not, because you didn't attend that party. She was at the ranch party. And I don't think you came because of COVID.
That's right.
Yeah, so you haven't had a chance to meet her. Well, one of these days you'll meet her because she's local. She actually has a ranch in Glen Rose, and she lives up by the Aledo, Fort Worth area. So, but she's a hoot. Actually, Scotty, that whole side is a hoot. They're fun. But ultimately today we're going to go over Manhattan Life has actually several cancer products in their portfolio. One is fairly new, but several cancer products, they're structured differently, so they do different things, and I feel like they should be sold differently to certain demographics over others. And so I'm going to let Scotty walk us through the plan specifically, and then how to sell or who to sell them to, if that makes sense. It's kind of like I'm a poet or a riddler here on this call. So Scotty, without further ado, go ahead and take us away, and I will give you the screen so you can share too.
Okay, well, perfect, guys. Well, I'm glad to be on. Again, I always like joining this crew, and like Rebecca said, we like to have fun, and that's why she fits in with us, I think. I think she could stay up later than any of us if we tried, and then still be up at 6 in the morning for a conference. But yeah, no, I work senior security benefits. I'm senior marketing director here. We got a team, and of course, we push ancillary and cross sell. You don't work for Queen of the Bundle without knowing ancillary products, but we'll get there. And yeah, like she said today, we're going to cover Manhattan Life. They've got some cancer plans. For those of you in Texas, those are the brochures I'm looking at. For you guys in Florida, some of these plans are available to you as well. They're going to be a little bit different between the two of you. Florida's DOI is somewhat different than a lot of it. So sometimes we have to tweak plans when we file in those states. You'll notice even dental plans are different in Florida, the way they're structured, just because it's the DOI out there is a little bit more difficult, for lack of better words, but they're still there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a screen share, and let me get this pulled up, show all windows, get my PDF going here to where I can get these going. And there we go. Got the screen share going on. Do you guys see anything yet?
No.
No, okay, for some reason I don't have, okay, there it is right there. PDFs, share. Had multiple stuff open. We're got some event planning going on, so I'm making sure I get the right PDFs. All right, perfect. So this brochure here, I was just scrolling through it real quick. This is a Florida brochure. And the reason I'm showing it to you guys first, I'm not going to go through it, but when you go to your Manhattan Life portal and download PDFs, if I ever talk about a lump sum product today, Florida people, this is what you're going to go look at. And basically, this is their lump sum where you can go through. It says employees, but you can do individual on it as well. It's up to a $50,000 lump sum plan. So that's going to be comparable to the Lighthouse Series lump sum that I talked about today. That's the Texas brochure. But what I'm going to do, instead of going through the lump sum, I'm going to go through the Cancer Care Plus. This is available to both you guys, both Texas and Florida. I'm looking at my bigger screen here so I can read my PDF. I'm getting older, so looking at my laptop's not as good. So Cancer Care Plus, it's more of what we call a treatment plan when you're going through, and you can sell this in addition to a lump sum plan if you want, but really when you start looking at treatment plans, they're going to kind of fill in gaps. If you're selling ACA, if you're selling probably just mainly ACA market this would apply to, this is going to fill in the gaps, because what this is going to do is you're going to have lots of little claims. You know, if they go to an inpatient, if they stay in the hospital, there's a different benefit on that. There's actually a benefit for if they need a wig, you know, for hair, there's that on here as well. There's drugs and there's outpatient. So you're going to have little things like that. This isn't my preferred plan. I prefer the lump sum just because lump sum is one and done on claims. This is a plan though, when you start looking at it, its appeal is going to be because it's going to be cheaper on it. So if you're selling to a demographic that are more budget conscious, this is a plan to go. Some cancer plan is better than no cancer plan. So if you have to, this is the one to go with. But keep in mind, this is a treatment plan. So they have to file a claim every time they go through something like that. And again, my preferred is a lump sum, but we'll still go through this one. Real quick, and I'll only do this once because this is going to be in both brochures. Why cancer insurance? Cancer is affecting quite a bit of people. If you're looking there, reading the brochure, men, it's 1 in 2 lifetime risk. Women, it's 1 in 3. And that's all cancers. They're going through it. You know, there's some that are more serious than others, but you know, cancer is cancer in this day and age, and it's being pretty prevalent. The good thing about a treatment plan, this is the one that we're looking with, is you're able to get in sooner and get things checked out. And that's actually helping with our cancer statistics. If you guys have been following any newsletters on that, we're actually doing a better job at treating cancer because people are finding it sooner and we're getting it taken care of before it gets out of control. And so that's a lot better to have these type of plans. So that's going to be the first page. And the good thing I'm pointing this out too, because when you're with your clients, you're going to be showing them these brochures. Cancer plans are something that are sold. They're not shopped very often. You know, people don't think off the top of their head, I need to get a cancer plan. You know, everybody thinks my insurance will take care of it. This is all going to be covered in insurance, and that's not always the case. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it's not. So you've got to kind of show your clients the exposure to cancer and explain to them, here's what you're going to go through. And if their main concern is they've got a bunch of money in the bank, you know, and their main concern is filling in the plan on their ACA or group insurance where they have, we're going to go with the Cancer Care Plus. You've got 4 different options. Let me go ahead and zoom in here. Can you guys read the text okay on here? Good, you see it? So what you're going to go through, you've got 4 different benefit packages, plans A, B, C, and D. Of course, the first one is radiation and chemotherapy. That's going to be something that you're going to hit on immediately because those are the first 2 treatment types you think of when you have cancer. So your client's going to think about that. You've got a maximum up to $7,500 per month. You see plan C is going to be that maximum. The other ones are $2,500 and $5,000 per month when you go on that. And that's going to help go towards your radiation. The first occurrence, basically that's going to be a rider that you add on to it. That's going to be something that's not payable for skin cancer, but you want to pay attention to this portion of it, because if you're selling to seniors, you can't sell this to 65 and above. And that's why a lump sum, I think, is better for them. The cancer screening test, I'm just rolling through the brochure on here because this next few pages is just showing the different benefits on it. I'm hitting highlights. The screening test is the important thing for me because remember I touched on earlier, this is going to provide a benefit for your clients to go in when they're getting their screening test. This means they don't have cancer yet. They're going in and just getting it looked at. And again, our whole drive to get cancer treatment is you want to go in early, you want to get detected early because that's the best thing for your treatment on it. And you've got your daily hospital confinement benefit. It's going to be a $300 max per day. Plan C is again, it's going to be the strongest one on that, but that's filling in for your hospital confinement. If you've got a deductible on your ACA plan, that's going to help you kind of chip away at that as well. And then going down here, I think it's on this page. You got this is going to get more serious. On third page is had the wig on there. But yeah, this is the one that's going to cover the wig on it. The reason I'm touching on this one very briefly is, again, it's a treatment plan. It's going to, I mean, I could go through every different scenario on it, but you're going to sell this to your ACA clients, basically. It's going to be a plan that fills in the gaps. It's going to be there. They're going to have to stay on top of claims. And this is going to be indemnity style, like she touched on. You're seeing the maximum $1,000 per year. As we go through, and I pulled this up, the agent guide's a lot more better than the brochure for the agent to go through. It's going to be 150 per day, 300 per day on the confinement. When you start looking at the indemnity, again, you're filing your claims on your own. This is going back to the client to help cover their deductible brochure and stuff like that, this is going to be what it pays per day on it. So if your client, the 150 per day plan they have, if they're $100 per day on their treatment, they're ahead $50. If it's $200, they're below $50, but it's indemnity. That's how it works. And then of course the screening test is an important thing. Also touching on here on the individual rates, we had the plan A, B, C, D. If you're a group person, you're seeing there's payroll that you can put on it, because remember it touched on employees. This is a plan that you can put on worksite. Manhattan Life you can do if you have up to 3 people. You can do it on, or not direct bill, but group billing on there, 3 or more people on that. And I've got those forms I can send to you, and basically they'll draft it under your work, and you can deduct that on your payroll or however you want to do it. But if you're looking at plan C, and that was the strongest one, bank draft for an individual, we're looking at about $52 a month. It's pretty affordable. Again, you're filling in the gaps on that, filling in the holes. You can add on there a heart attack and stroke. It's a max at $5,000. And a lot of times people will compare this plan to a lump sum cancer, heart attack, and stroke and say, well, I could get $20,000 for a heart attack and stroke. You probably could, but honestly, with a heart attack, most of that's going to be inpatient anyways. So if you do a hospital stay, your insurance is going to cover a lot of it. So I suggest on these lump sum or even this plan, $5,000 is adequate to go towards your deductible. And, so don't waste your money packing on heart attack and stroke coverage. You want to put your dollars towards cancer coverage on that. But that's this plan. That's the major thing about this. It's going to be, and I'm going to send you guys this agent guide that does a better job than the brochure. Basically, it's treatment. It means treatment plan. You have to go through treatment to use it. That means you get diagnosed, you don't go through treatment, you don't get the benefit till you go through those things. And it's got the different layout on it.
So what's the waiting period on this? Like if, say, I had cancer 10 years ago, can I get it now?
So this one, it's not going to cover on a pre-existing on the
At
treatment
all?
on there. It's not, no
Where the
pre-existing.
lump sum does after so long.
The lump sum does.
That's another big difference. Okay.
Yeah, and that is. I'm glad you pointed that. So this one is not going to have going to go for your pre-existing people. And of course, we've got here the lump sum. If you guys are looking in your, again, if you're looking in your portals, you're going to look for the Manhattan Life Lighthouse series, cancer, heart attack, and stroke. They've got another plan that's called First Occurrence that you'll see in your portal. It's also a lump sum, but go with the Manhattan Life Lighthouse series. It's going to be a lump sum's a lump sum, a lump sum. This is going to be the one that you want to go with just because you got the heart attack and stroke, and it's a lot more clean cut. Again, this is going to show your clients on the brochure the exposure. On the under 65 market, on the cancer exposures, what we push, we've got a call center where we do under 65, and then the trainings that Galen does, most exposures, 60% of your cancer costs are not going to be medical, meaning, I'm 30 years old, I live down in Grandview, I get cancer, I want to go down to Houston, MD Anderson, 4 hours south. My insurance is not going to cover that. So I need to have money in the bank to go there. Or if I want to go down to Mexico because I'm close to the border, say 8-hour drive or going to take a flight down there, I need something for experimental treatment. A lump sum is going to let me do that. And I'd prefer to have that money in the bank. I have 2 lump sum cancer policies on myself. I actually have a Manhattan Life and I have an Aetna. $75,000 on my Aetna and $50,000 on Manhattan Life. And so that means upon diagnosis, each of those carriers are going to pay me that money. And I can use that for my mortgage. I can use that for babysitting. I can use that for my wife to take off work for a year so that we can go through treatment together. And I'm going to tell you this is my preference because on the treatment plans, your client has to go through treatment to get their benefit. This plan, you get diagnosed and they pay out just like lump sums do. And then you also aren't being nickeled and dimed to death on treatment options. Nobody wants to go through cancer and have to stay on top of claims. And if you've ever gone through claims with your client, even on a dental plan, going through claims is not fun for anybody. And so going through cancer is going to be a lot more stressful.
So hypothetically, I get diagnosed with cancer, it's terminal, I ain't going to do treatment, I can get the lump sum, but on the other plan, I won't get anything.
Correct, because you have to go through treatment on the other plan. And that's the good thing about the lump sum plans, regardless of carrier. And that's kind of a big pitching point because if you get terminal, say you're given 6 to 8 weeks to live, heaven forbid, you can use this to pay off debt, go do a memory with your family. You know, if there's a trip you want to take, excuse me, something like that. That's the benefit. It's money in the bank for you. It's your money. It's almost like a life insurance policy that you can use ahead of time, you know, and then let your family use your life insurance money, you know, after everything's done to settle out. But you're going to kind of want to use this plan. The rising debt is why I'm touching on the 61%. That's the non-medical cost that you're going with, because it's going to be a lot of debt. If you've got a client that's on a short-term or fixed benefit plan, you know, for a while I was on the affordable choice and bundled it. And my thought was, if I get diagnosed with cancer, you know, outside of an SCP or enrollment period where I can't get on an Obamacare plan, or, you know, for some reason that wasn't available to me, I could have the money in the bank to hold me over the rest of the year until ACA plan where I could get onto an enrollment period to get me onto that. And so that way I could kind of pay for treatment if I wanted. And then I'm not depleting my life savings. I'm not having to sell my house. I'm not having to, you know, do things, and that's going to affect my family. So those are my arguments on the lump sum versus treatment. When you're looking at this, this is going to be the heart attack. You know, heart attack stuff is just as real as cancer. Luckily, that's a lot more manageable, a lot more of, you know, your heart stuff. There's some drastic things on it, but your diet, your exercise, you know, if you're going in routinely, your doctor can help you with medications to help keep that in check. And again, most of your exposure on heart attacks, it's going to be taken care of by your insurance. You're not going to have the MD Anderson you can go with wherever your insurance does. But what you compare this plan with is you can mix and match benefit, meaning you can do a $30,000 cancer, $5,000 heart. You don't have to max out the benefit to do a $30,000 cancer, heart attack, and stroke option if you want. And these brochures, Manhattan Life does a really good job of lining out the cost and basically the risk. So again, when you're showing your client, here's your exposure, because that's what insurance is, right? We're covering their exposure. You're making that real to them and saying, here's what it is. These are statistics you can go off of. And then here, we're going to go through, you asked about pre-existing. 10 years pre-existing is what we're going to be looking for on Manhattan Life. Aetna does a 5-year look back. Manhattan's going to do a 10 without it. These are claims examples. You know, I'm not going to go through all the way through them. When you download the brochures, these are here. But basically, that's where you can kind of drive the point home to Ms. Jones of here's the benefit of having this plan. Here's how it's helpful. Manhattan Life, the same thing in their affordable choice, the out-of-pocket and the DVH. If you ever see claims examples, these are actual claims examples they've used. They're not just putting numbers on a piece of paper. They're actually pulling their own claims examples for you to use for your clients. So with the Lighthouse series, let's look at this real quick here. What we're going to do on these lump sum plans, this is going to be per 5,000. You do individual spouse, one parent, or family. If you're doing individual and spouse, it's going to be the older spouse that determines the rate on this when you go through it. So if you've got a 65-year-old with a 64-year-old wife on this plan specifically, you've got to go with the 65-year-old on it. And you can do just a strictly lump sum if you want. Now, when we're pitching this to our clients, we always try to stay within the $30,000 lump sum amount, because that's going to be an amount that's actually going to make a difference in something. Meaning, if we need to get you in the door to MD Anderson, the last figures I heard, I think it was like 20 to 25,000 you need to have in your pocket to get in the doors at MD Anderson. That's going to get you through a day or two of getting just a treatment plan in place. So $30,000, whether you're over or under 65, is what we would encourage. And then you can go up from there and you can go down from there, because if you start at 10,000, it's going to be hard to work your way up. 30,000, you can find an affordable budget on there. We'll just say a 55-year-old for easy math per 5,000, that's going to be about $65. They're going to be paying for a 55-year-old on an individual. So then you figure out what their budget is and you can go down from there on it. Again, if you're doing heart attack and stroke, I suggest doing a $5,000 amount, just because you're helping cover deductibles at that point. You're not really paying for much. Your exposure on the over 65 market, and I'm going to touch on a couple of things on this. A lot of it is going to be on your cancer drugs is your exposure. Yes, they still have the daily living costs that I have. Yes, they still probably have a mortgage. They probably still got to take time off work. But they probably have a little bit of money in savings. And while we don't want to see that money go away, what their exposure is going to happen is most cancer drugs, even on a Medicare Advantage or a PDP, your catastrophic coverage, you're going to hit that the first time on a lot of cancer drugs. So your client's going to go in and they're going to have that big exposure, what we call the donut hole. You're going to have that exposure in there. They're going to have to pay that the first time they go in. And that's your over 65 coverage. For those of you, I know quite a bit on your team or licensed in California. This is a plan, and this is going to be all cancer plans, but this is available for you to use as well to your advantage. In California, you cannot sell a cancer plan to anybody older than 65. So if you're in the Medicare market and you're buying turning 65 leads because they're cheap or that's your main market, you can sell a 64-year-old a cancer plan and they can keep it for as long as they're alive.
Right. I actually think you can't sell anybody 64 and a half. I think it's actually what it is.
Okay, 64 and a half. So your 64-year-olds, you want to show them, and that's a lot of these plans, you know, you'll see here, there's 59-year-old cheaper, 64-year-old Roman pilot. You're able to show them, let's get you this today. And it sounds like a pressure sale, but you're just showing them your cancer exposure actually multiplies. I think it's 58 when you start kind of climbing up there statistically, you're on to getting cancer. That's an age group that really needs help more than any of us do, because they're going in, you know, they're catching their cancer sooner because that age group is going and routinely getting checked out. They're catching things earlier. They're getting their treatment. Prostate cancer, you think, you know, I know they just dropped that down to age 40, that the exposure is a little bit on that, but 50 to 60-year-old men, that's an exposure they need to start keeping track of. So basically, if you're in California, I'm just driving that point home that after that age, 64 and a half or 65, they can't buy a cancer plan. I don't know why, that's their regulation, but it just is. So you want to be pitching this for your Medicare leads in California on it. And of course, another thing, these are issue age products. That's another thing that helps you in your sell. If you're doing T65, it's Miss Jones, you know, if we go to, again, 30,000, you know, that's a $3 jump on there, you know, that's an $18 a month difference, almost $20 a month difference in premium I can save you if we do it today. And that's a really big thing to drive home. And of course, reoccurrence rider. So that's going to grow, and that was shown up at the top. I don't know why I jumped around, but on your reoccurrence riders, what that is, every year it can build back. Meaning, say if you got cancer today, and then you depleted it, they paid you your $30,000. The plan doesn't go away if you've got the reoccurrence rider. Now you've got time where it's got to step up, and it varies by state. Let's go back to, it's going to go off of this benefit payable right here. Without the treatment, it's 10 years is where it's going to grow back. So after 2 years, for 2 to 5 years, if you got the recurrence rider, you get 25% of your policy back. From 5 years to 10 years, you get 50% of your policy, and 10 years or more, you get 100% of your policy. Again, if we're going off statistics, you're gonna want to go to that reoccurrence rider. It's cheap to add on. You know, you're looking at a matter of cents or dollars putting on there, because statistically, if you get cancer once, it's likely to come back eventually. And that's just a statistic out there. That's how the health goes. So you want to add that reoccurrence rider on there. If you start looking in Texas, I believe it's 9 years where you get 100% back on most cancer plans. That's a state thing. But everywhere else, you're going to be a full 10 years. And it seems like that 1 year wouldn't make a difference, but sometimes it does.
So on the reoccurrence rider benefit, is it like 5 years from the lump sum benefit or 5 years from you officially are in remission? Because you know, some people are never getting remission.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. It's 5 years from being cancer-free. Basically, your last treatment is removed. So you've got to have it.
So if I say I started cancer treatment today, got paid, and in 2024 was my last treatment, that's actually when my clock starts ticking.
Yeah, so on it, and then it should say, yeah, period without medical advice or treatment is what they're going to classify it as. So you've got to be treatment free. And that's the same thing when they're doing a look back on your pre-existing on the 10 years. You've got to be in the clear for 10 years. It's not diagnosed 10 years ago. It's treatment free for 10 years. Because believe it or not, we've had several clients in underwriting. They may have been diagnosed and thought they could just wait it out 10 years treatment free. Why you would go 10 years without treatment? People have done that, and you've got to be treatment free. Just because you don't treat it doesn't mean it's not there.
I'm kind of impressed that they made it 10 years without treatment.
we did actually. I know one client, the entire my 11th year, being here. There's one guy that it was found out that he had gone, and he knew about it, and he got paid out. Now, of course, the DOI went after him, but I don't know how he got by it, but he did. So the carriers watch that stuff. Sometimes people squeak through, but not often. This is going to be the heart attack and stroke, the base policy. If you're doing a cancer, heart attack, and stroke plan, these rates are in addition to the cancer plan that you had on there. And they've got a restoration rider as well. Again, I'm going to stress to you guys that if you're looking at budget per 5,000, that's what I would tack on. Again, because most plans you have are, you're going to have a deductible, you're going to have something, whether it's Advantage plan, ACA, med sub. A lot of time heart stuff, you're going to be inpatient, and your plan's going to take care of most of those costs. You don't need the $50,000 lump sum. Now, if your client wants it, that's a different story, but the need is not there. I would see premium driven towards cancer sales. But that's again, just my suggestion, guidance. You might be able to find something if you want on there, but you'll be able to do
would
that.
you recommend doing a bigger benefit here in the cancer if you got somebody who maybe can't qualify for life insurance because they're on dialysis or something crazy? Because my mom, she was on dialysis, but ultimately she passed away of a heart attack.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that. I would make the argument for a guarantee issue final expense. Gerber's got pretty cheap rates on a final expense. For like dialysis, or they can't qualify for underwriting, and honestly the heart's going to be underwritten as well when you add that on. So if they've got something drastic enough for health wise, they're probably not going to pass underwriting on the heart. So going with the guarantee issue final expense would be the next step on there if they don't have much life insurance. But that's one thing to think about. I mean, people do, when you're dealing with these lump sums, at the end of the day, show the client what they need, tell them what they want. If they say, my family's not affected by cancer, yes, I can see where some of it's genetics. So sometimes people think they're safe from cancer, but their grandma had 3 heart attacks in their lifetime, or their uncles. So they see their exposure to the heart attack. If that's their exposure and that's what they want, you can show them that. But again, I think to make use of their premium, the ethical thing is to drive them to cancer on that and show them, hey, here's really what this will help out on. And feel free to you can use my example. If you guys have had cancer in your lifetime, or maybe a family member has, hey, we wanted $50,000 made a difference in your family member's life, and then let your client talk and say, well, yeah, that actually, my great aunt had to still keep going to work to pay her mortgage, or she would have been homeless because she didn't have the savings in place. And that's in the under 65. That's how you show them, here's where these plans help you, as opposed to a treatment plan. I'm sure you guys could tell how fast I went through that. I look at that treatment plan sometimes, but just as my gut instincts, the fact that you have to go through treatment to use it for each of those things, I want to put somebody through cancer treatment and say, all right, for your $2,000, say, go file this claim and wait on it. I would rather, when you get diagnosed with cancer, we can give you your lump sum money up front, and then you can do what you want. If it's terminal, do something with your family. If it's not terminal, let's get you through treatment. If you don't have insurance right now, let's get you onto to get you to an ACA plan. Or if it's common here in Texas and Florida, I'm not sure if they do there. I know a lot of people that do go to Mexico for cancer treatment for experimental that's not covered by insurance. We now gave them $50,000, $100,000, if you stack the policies, a $50,000 check where you can go to Mexico and do your experimental treatment if that's what you and your family decide you want to do. And it's all about giving them options. So that's the two, like I said, what I'm going to say, the 2 cancer plans with Manhattan Life. When you go into your portal, and let me show you, are you guys showing my internet, or are you still in PDFs?
Do what?
Are you guys showing, let me do this. I'm going to open up a portal. Are you guys seeing an example of a portal right now?
I have, but they may have not have.
Okay. So let me show you. I'm going to show you where you can get this stuff here. There it is. Share. So this is my agent portal. What we're looking at on here. So Manhattan Live is very easy. Once you're logged in, go over on the left side, go to downloads, go to product downloads. Yeah, I still got it logged in. Kick me out. Basically, I'm showing you where to get these brochures to get on there. Of course, it's not letting me in. Technology is great until it's great all the time. I wrote it in.
Yeah, I've been fighting with tech for a month. We just now, I think, finally got this office back under control, like late last week. Yeah. And I still hold my breath, but we've been fighting it for a while.
Yikes. So when you're logged in, so this is, you're seeing Rebecca Reed on there because it's one of our downloads. Somebody must be in her back office. But basically go over, click on downloads and then product downloads, and it'll pull you up to here. And if you're licensed in multiple states, you're going to like this tool. You click on the state that you're in. We'll just click on Texas, and it will pull to all of the products that are in Texas. And you can pull their brochures, applications, agent guides. When you're going down, you see all their different stuff. This is a cancer first occurrence. You'll see this. This is that's their old lump sum. It's still out there. The Lighthouse series is the one I'm going to drive you to. That's the MAC, Manhattan Insurance Company, cancer, heart attack, and stroke. You can download the agent guide, download the brochure, and the same thing with all of their products when you go through. This is where you go to download those brochures. I like that. Or if you want, you can go search by product. If you're in multiple states, you want to figure out where it is. We're going to go to Cancer Care Plus. And this will show you all the states that product's in. So if you've got multiple states and you want to know where you can market it to, this is where you go. That's the two easy things on there. And of course, when you go back to your dashboard, you also go ahead and your 2.0 direct, launch it, run a quote. I don't know who Rebecca Reed is, but we'll save her from doing a cancer quote. So that's the two insurance plans in a nutshell. Quick, brief overview on them. Not sure if you guys have any more questions on those, or cancer plans are pretty cut and dry. There's not much explanation to them other than what the brochure says is what the brochure says.
Do you guys have any questions for Scotty?
Hi, Scotty. I do have a question. I was writing in my notes. So the cancer care plans is just strictly treatment. So that means that the doctor has not diagnosed them as terminal, correct?
Correct. So what they're going to do is they've got to go through, and when you download their brochure, I mean, there's some chemo, radiation, all the different benefits. They've got to go through that specific treatment to get that benefit on that plan. Now, it's different from a lump sum. Once you go and use it, it doesn't go away. You just have to go through each of those different treatments to get that benefit.
Okay. And the lump sum is basically they have been told they only have so much to live, right? And they can take it, or it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Once you're diagnosed, you get your lump sum.
Okay.
Yeah, they could say you've got 6 weeks. They could say, hey, this is not aggressive. Skin cancer is not one that they'll do that with, but most internal cancers, what they'll say is, hey, you've been diagnosed with cancer, you get your pathology report, file the claim, and they pay you your lump sum.
But you did mention that this one, it does not handle, it does not cover if they had pre-existing cancer. So if they been in remission for a while, had it, and it came back, they can't get the lump sum, right?
On the treatment plan, you can. On the lump sum, you've got to be treatment free for 10 years.
Treatment free for 2 years. Okay.
Mm-hmm. If you're looking at the plans, I believe your guys' Aetna is with us as well. The Aetna is a 5-year look back on. So if you need to use that to your advantage, the Aetna plan's got a shorter look back on their Chaz Plus plan. And it's going to work the same way a lump sum as a lump sum. $20,000, you're just playing with rates at that point between carriers.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
So on that price chart, it showed age 65, but did I understand Rebecca said we can't write it past 65?
In California, you can't.
Okay.
In California, it stops at 60. after 65. Everywhere else you can't. You can go older. I believe it's up in the 80s on that.
Okay,
Yeah, California that's where they have the knockout, and that's all cancer plans. For some reason, that's a California state rule.
okay.
It's a
Thanks.
dumb rule, is what it is.
Yeah.
Makes no
Right.
sense.
Mm-mm.
So just curious, really quick, which one of these plans do you sell more of out of the two?
The lump sum plan that we
The lump-
and we see some of the treatment plans even in our downline. We'll see agents because some agents like treatment plans. You know, it's as much as I like the lump sum, somebody might like the treatment plan. I would make a really strong argument why the lump sum's better. We see some of it, but in our office, it's the lump sum plans we sell.
Okay. Okay.
You could sell both. That'll solve that problem.
Yeah.
Just be like,
Yeah.
well, we're gonna do like a 30,000 lump sum, and then we're gonna do this treatment plan in case it goes on and on and on, and you can continually get paid.
Yes. And you can stack. Now, you can't buy two Manhattan lump sum policies, but you can buy a Manhattan, a Aetna, a Cigna, a Mutual, a Bankers. I mean, you can buy different carrier. You can stack lump sum cancer plans if you want. That's what I did. I have an Aetna and a Manhattan on my family.
But you
I've got-
can stack the treatment and the lump sum, right?
Yes, you can.
You know, in some ways, you know, somebody's got enough financial capital for that, you know, especially if they're on maybe like a high deductible Medicare plan or something. You could almost make that argument, you know, well, here's a lump sum benefit to get you in the door at, I'm losing the name, the hospital in South Texas.
MD Anderson.
Thank you, MD and Anderson. And then ultimately, if treatments go on, so you get, you know, you diagnosed with something that treatments last a year on, well, you're going to continue to get paid with the treatment plan too. So, I mean, to the right person, you could have that argument and win that argument, I bet.
Yeah. I think you could do that.
Kind of depending on what they have as their main form of insurance. You know, for a Medicare person, that doesn't really make sense. But if you got somebody who's on like some high deductible plan, whether it's group health or individual health, or they make a lot of money, and so they pick, you know, the $6,000 deductible because it was cheap. Ultimately, you know, they can afford quite a bit more, and you can probably make that argument because when they're younger too, it's not going to be that expensive.
Right. Yeah, I think you could.
So runs in the
could.
family.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to get, like I said, when you talk to your client, show them what they need, sell them what they want. You know, if it comes to them presenting a plan to somebody and you know what, the treatment plan is what they want, I don't have an issue selling what they want. I'll push them to the lump sum just because that's what I believe in, but it's
Right. I'm just
one on
thinking
there.
of stacking them. Like I could see where the stack would make sense for the right person, especially somebody who ultimately has cancer running in their family. Maybe is the breadwinner of the household too, you know, because, you know, $40,000, if you're the sole breadwinner and you got a family, you're going to go through that money.
Yeah. Well, even if you look at chemo and radiation, you know, for drug costs, I mean, having a plan that's specifically going for chemo, that's attractive to them, you know, because your lump sum money will get ate up by chemo. You guys have any other questions on them?
No, thank you so much. I don't know for anybody else. Can't see who else in here.
Yeah, not a problem. Rebecca, your camera keeps freezing. I meant to tell you, your eyelashes look good today. It froze up on you. You're looking down. But we've got I've got to jump off. I've got to get something done before I get out of here. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, give me a call. Rebecca's got my contact information. You guys have my email address. If you need help finding those materials to download on eApp, just give me a shout. Let me know what I can do to help.
Okay, thank you so much, Scotty.
Thank you, Scott.
You're back.
I don't know what just happened. I thought we were good, and then now we're not.
I complimented her eyelashes and you froze and went away. I was like, maybe I offended her.
No. But ultimately, my point was, to the right person, a stack would make sense.
Yes, I agree.
Does anybody else have any questions for Scotty?
No,
No,
All right.
Okay.
My computer is telling me it's time for us to go.
All right. We'll talk to you guys later.
yeah,
So
Scotty.
I'll let you go. Thanks,
Thanks, Scotty.
everybody. Have a good
Bye-bye.
night.
Okay, bye-bye.